morning, and welcome to the Unitarian Church of Evanston. Whether this is your spiritual home or you are newly discovering this community, we are grateful you are with us. We are an inclusive and welcoming community seeking truth and love and striving to nurture the human spirit for a world made whole. We are guided by our principles and values, which remind us in every moment and through every challenge that each of us is worthy of love and that we are all connected through the vast and beautiful web of existence. We come together to remember our kinship with one another and to hold one another in heart and mind with tenderness and careful attention. There are many links of connection in the description below the YouTube live stream, including the order of service credits, ways to support our mission, and to be added to our email newsletter list. A few announcements. Next Sunday, our choir, directed by Vicki Hellier, will be returning to sing live for our special music Sunday service. This will be a musicful service featuring Howard Levy and Amanda Thomas. After the service, Amanda Thomas, former music director of Second Unitarian Church, will lead a singing workshop. The ministers, staff, and COVID task force also want to let you know that they continue to monitor COVID cases and protocols to take incremental steps toward loosening restrictions. In May, small groups and rentals will be permitted to go mask optional for activities in the building. We will keep the mask mandate for Sunday morning worship and faith formation through our Flower Communion Sunday on June 5th. The national launch of UU The Vote is today. 2 years ago, our congregation sent out 22,000 Get Out the Vote postcards. This year, being engaged with our democratic process is again vital, and we have made a goal of sending out 40,000 Get Out the Vote postcards. To pick up a set of postcards or to find out about the process for writing postcards, see Carolyn Laughlin at the UU The Vote program table in the cafe area after today's service. Plan to stay after the service for kinship time with coffee, tea, lemonade, and sweets. Then join Faith Formation Hour focused on anti-racism and anti-oppression. A discussion of widening the circle of concern will meet in the sanctuary and on Zoom. Children are invited to join Kathy for fun activity, kindness eggs, in room 3, and nursery will be available in room 11.
Please join with me in reading these words from Annie Dillard. We are here to abet creation and to witness it, to notice each other's beautiful face and complex nature, so that creation need not play to an empty house. Welcome to worship.
We have cleared off the table, the leftovers saved, washed the dishes and put them away. I have told you a story and tucked you in tight at the end of your knockabout day. As the moon sets its sails to carry you to sleep over the midnight sea, I will sing you a song no one sang to me. May it keep you good company. You can be anybody that you want to be. You can go whoever you will. You can travel any country that your wild heart leads, and know I will love you still. You can live by yourself, you can gather friends around, you can choose one special one, and the only measure of your words and your deeds will be the love you leave behind when you're done. Some girls grow up to be strong and bold, some boys are quiet. Some race on ahead and some follow behind. We all grow in our own space and time. Some women love women, some men love men, some raise children and some never do. You can dream all the day, never reaching the end of everything possible for you. You can be anybody that you want to be. You can love whoever you will. You can travel any country where your wild heart leads, and know I will love you still. You can live by yourself, you can gather friends around, you can choose a few special ones, and the only measure of your words and your deeds will be the love you leave behind when you're done. Don't be rattled by names, by taunts, by games. Seek out spirits kind and true. If you give this old world the very best of yourself, it will return the same to you. You can be anybody that you want to be. You can love whoever you will. You can travel any country that your white heart leads, and know I will love you still. You can live by yourself, you can gather friends around, you can choose one special one, but the only measure of your words and your deeds will be the love you leave behind when you're done. Will be the love you leave behind when you're done.
So I haven't been able to get through singing this song once without tearing up. Mostly I think it's in gratitude for the ways my parents paved a new world for me to love and live in, for the ways I know I'm making space for my children to love and live at their best, and for the ways I know they'll surpass me and expand beyond me and make this world better for those who follow behind them. Thank you to the Buckman Bridge Unitarian Universalist Church for the invitation to learn and share this song. And thank you, Fred Small, for writing it.
The Unitarian Church of Evanston resides on the traditional homelands of the Council of Three Fires, the Ojibwe, Odawa, and Potawatomi nations. This land was recorded as being transferred from the local Potawatomi community to the U.S. government in 1829 and was then sold to white settlers. After decades of violent encroachment by the French, British, and then U.S. American settlers, the Potawatomi community had no choice but to sell before they were forcefully removed west of the Mississippi River. The Chicagoland area is now home to one of the largest and most diverse urban Native communities in the U.S. Our faith calls us to name these realities with honor and respect as one small effort toward finding greater accountability, deeper relationship, and mutuality with contemporary indigenous communities for the land which we use as sacred space, for the animals and plants that have been sustained by this land, and for our ancestors and descendants who are and will become part of the earth.
As our UCE youth group comes forward to light our chalice, symbol of our living tradition, please join us in saying these words. Each morning, we must hold out the chalice of our being to receive, to carry, to give back.
Please rise in body or spirit and join in saying the words of our covenant. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. While we are uplifted, let's turn to one another briefly to say good morning. Try to greet someone sitting near you who you don't know yet. Please remain uplifted and sing together hymn number 389, Gathered Here in the Mystery of the Hour.
As we say in our covenant each Sunday, service is our law. Oh, whoops.
You're so good. They are doing an amazing job. I get it wrong all the time. Each Sunday, we hold space for the joys and sorrows of those gathered here, both in person and across the distances through our YouTube live stream. And we honor the struggles and the triumphs and the brokenness and the wholeness that is part of the human condition. If you have a joy or a sorrow that you would like spoken aloud, you can enter it into the Google form that's found on our website, or you can put it into this book, which is found at the back pages, or you can simply send me an email. These are the joys and sorrows that have been shared today. Prayers are requested for Finian Liddell, who is home again with pancreatitis. We hope that he can improve without a trip to the hospital this time. Yes. And Trudy Davis writes, please send positive thoughts for my little 17-month-old cousin who is battling leukemia, a 2-year process. So far, indications are very positive. Lots of love and concern there. We've got several joys. One from me, and I know I share it with many others, that it was a joy to have people of all ages here yesterday for our Afternoon of the Arts. After having 2 years away from our annual event, Night of the Arts, we've reimagined it, and I just want to thank Karina Nelson and Jenny Walsh and all of the volunteers who made it possible. It was truly, truly joyful. And there's our little snake is one of the things that was that we created, and there's a bunch of little things up here from our day yesterday. It was really lovely. Former member Laura Nelson is filled with joy over the birth of her grandson, Ira Hadley Porter Nelson. He was born on April 6th. Her daughter Eleanor and son-in-law Dean are over the moon in love with this little one. And from Adam Goff, last week, he writes, my partner Zoe and I became first-time homeowners. Congratulations, Adam and Zoe. Yes, Dwight, yes. A great joy, Joan Retzloff is now the happy great-grandmother of Joanna Christine Lindsay, born in Philadelphia yesterday. This is great-grandchild number 5. Incredible. From Tomo Hilbo, who we welcomed as a new member on the 27th of March, they write, I share a joy of being non-binary. I started using she, they pronouns last year, and it has renewed my view of not only myself and my location in this world, but also how rigid the systems are that our society operates in. Awareness is a starting point of making changes. Thank you for sharing that with us, Tomo. And from Sue Yoakum, joy for the process of letting go, no matter how difficult it is. And for my friend Terry, comfort after the passing of her husband. This is a sacred space for our tender offerings, and it is part of the practice of beloved community. Together we expand our celebrations and we lessen the burden of our grief. You are invited now to come forward and light a candle if there's a joy or a sorrow that is on your heart that is a little too tender yet to share out loud. Please come forward now. Please join me in the spirit of prayer and meditation. Spirit of life, source of love that lives within, all around us and far beyond us. We are grateful for the many joys shared here today and grateful for a beloved community with which to share them. Remind us as we struggle together and strive to ease one another's suffering, to hold the sorrows of the world around us, and to celebrate the many gifts that life also offers. Build in us the capacity to work to end injustice, to hold the preciousness of this journey, along with the many difficulties we also face. May we deepen our shared commitment to make the world more whole, more equitable, more free, and more beautiful. Amen.
Okay, now it's my turn. As we say in our covenant each Sunday, service is our law. UCE is called by our mission, value, and principles to contribute to our community, to form accountable partnerships, and to express gratitude through giving. Today's offering will be shared with Faith in Place, whose mission is to empower people of diverse faiths and spiritualities to be leaders in advancing environmental and racial justice, providing resources to educate, connect, and advocate for healthier communities. Here's a short video about Faith in Place. If you are joining us from home or are in the building, you may text to give, mail in a check, or give from our website. If you write a check, please indicate in the memo line if your check is for shared offering, pledge, a capital campaign, or some other giving. If you are here in the building, you may have money for the collection plate. Raise your hand, and usher will bring you the collection bowl. Please give as generously as you are able, and may what you bring give you joy.
If there are youngsters, 6th grade or younger, who would like to go and have some free time, you can go with Janice and Alice. But of course, you are more than welcome to stay for the rest of the service. It's up to you.
The puppeteers string me up.
My elbows jump.
My wrists hang limp in the air. I'm everything they want me to be.
A girl.
A boy.
Lovely to look at in my black dress.
So handsome in my button-up.
Tights.
Khaki pants.
Purple church shoes with a tiny kitten heel.
Sneakers caked in dirt after sliding at home base. I'm so good at playing the part.
To be girl is to obey. To be soft ceramic tea kettle heavy over wispy blue flames. To be girl is to boil over and evaporate in the same breath. To love and to be loved silently.
To be boy is to get my way. To be a train boring through mountains, tracks paving my manifest destiny. To stand up straight with my hand up first. To be gendered is to answer every question before it is asked.
To ask no questions.
I follow my cues. I say all the right lines.
My body is a hollow instrument carved from broken branches.
Strings wrapped around my lungs, breathing in spite of me.
The puppeteer speaks and my mouth jerks open.
I speak only when I am spoken for. Words coerced but called a gift. Control masked as mimicry.
Shadow of a gender I wish I didn't have to be. It's just so easy to let someone else do the talking.
Obedience is a safer body than mine. His movements are my movements. Run fast.
Walk with back straight.
Legs spread while seated, as if I were just the image in the mirror. And I let it happen. I learned by watching.
Another thread fastening me to womanhood.
Mimicking that which I must perform.
I let my body be sculpted into caricature.
Each tug of the strings bringing a twinge of pain.
I can be a real girl and do what I'm told.
I can be a real boy if it means survival. But when I look in the mirror, I cannot tell if it is my reflection or someone else's.
Gender is a puppet show.
It's ventriloquism, whatever it takes to fool you, and there is no easy escape. Each time you call me he, boy,
she, girl,
I feel you tug the strings. Baggy costumes letting my body escape me.
But I am learning how to become.
How to fight through dysphoria and disobey.
To untangle this body from the girl I was woven into.
Unbuoy my joints from whittled blocks. I snapped the strings that have held me safe but sorry.
They snap back and leave tally mark bruises one for every time I let femininity be replaced by whatever it is I've escaped to.
Change isn't easy when instruction has become reflex, performance, a nervous habit, the kind that makes my bones stiff.
Not a body.
But a doll on a string. sing, I swallowed the graceful hand of God so that I might breathe this body whole. This is my resurrection. This is magic. This is truth. This is the only way I know how to be. I wish my body didn't need a gender.
I wish I didn't have to be a real boy.
Or a real girl. I wish I didn't have to be real to be allowed to exist.
My body is still far from any kind of home.
It still hurts to breathe too deeply.
To be whole but not yet holy.
Home is a body where you get to be you. No strings attached. Have you ever felt that? Have you?
Gender is a stage.
And we are all fastened to it. Don't be surprised when we break free.
Gender identity. Who am I, and why is my gender identification so important to folks in our society? Gender is of key importance in defining the power, privilege, and possibilities that some people have and some people do not have in a given society. It affects progress towards equality and freedom from discrimination. Those who align with a society's definition of gender hold the power, privilege, and possibility. Those misaligned with their culture's guidelines for gender are denied equality of opportunity and the full expression of who they are. Some definitions, please.
Sex refers to a person's biological status and is typically assigned at birth, usually on the basis of external anatomy. Sex is typically categorized as male or female.
Gender is a social construct of norms, behaviors, and roles that varies between societies and over time. Gender is often categorized as male, female, or non-binary in the context of a sexualized society.
Gender identity is one's own internal sense of self, whether that is man, women, neither, or both. Unlike gender expression, gender identity is not outwardly visible to others.
Gender expression is how a person presents gender identity through behavior, clothing, voice, etc. Society identifies these cues as masculine or feminine, although what is considered masculine or feminine changes over time and varies by culture.
Transgender, or simply trans, is an adjective used to describe someone whose gender identity differs from the sex assigned at birth. Other words describing someone who does not subscribe to conventional gender distinctions and identifies with neither male nor female are non-binary, genderqueer, or gender fluid.
Cisgender describes someone who identifies their gender with the sex assigned at birth. Okay, let's hear what some genderqueer folks have to say.
Gender doesn't exist. Gender's a lie.
Cis. You're not cis. I am they, I am she, and I am free.
Mark it.
Hey nerds. A non-binary person is someone whose gender identity does not conform to the gender binary, what we know as male and female. Some non-binary people prefer to use gender-neutral pronouns such as they, them, or neopronouns such as a or thon to describe their gender. Non-binary is used as an umbrella term for genders such as agender, bigender, genderqueer, gender fluid, and more. Some non-binary people identify as transgender, though not all do.
Non-binary to me means freeing yourself, not just living here or there, but embracing all parts of it.
Being yourself, not really confining to a script of society.
It feels like a universe with little pinpoints of stars. Each star is a different person, a different gender, a different identification, and you can literally fall anywhere within that universe. I've been feeling gender dysphoria since probably middle school or earlier, and I just didn't have a name for it. I found further evidence of that, like journal entries from when I was 12 years old, writing things like, I am a boy, no, I am a girl. There was a Facebook photo that I found recently where my mom and I were standing in front of a women's restroom, and I was making a face like this. The caption I had written was, am I a girl? I forget.
I grew up with family and my sisters, and it was a really religious background. I guess I got the double whammy because my family's Jamaican as well. And then you're different. On top of that, it's just like, okay, get ready for World War IV.
I was in the 5th grade and I was writing a boy's name down on a paper or something. But then I realized that I was writing a boy's name down, and I discovered my sexuality.
So as a child, I just naturally went towards, if I was in a shop, I would naturally go towards the boy section and put on like the basketball shorts and the jersey and felt really comfortable at home in that. And so everyone called me a tomboy. And if it came to weddings, special events, I was always asked to put on a dress or a skirt, something with ruffles. And I didn't feel comfortable doing it, but I noticed that when I would dress that way, my family would be really happy.
I wasn't always knowing that I was non-binary. Me figuring out that I wasn't trans, I feel liberated now that I know that I'm non-binary and that I don't have to look a particular way.
It was, I think, March of 2020. I had really, really long hair, and for a long time it was a point of pride for me. There came a point where it started to feel less like a point of pride and more like a vestige of a person that I did not feel a connection with anymore. And so I got a haircut, and immediately things started to shift for me. When I looked in the mirror, it felt like I was seeing a truer version of who I was.
I started to notice that I was dressing in a more feminine way, and I found a way to comfortably do it. And so that would be flowy dresses or pants or skirts, really interesting patterns. I realized that there is a femininity that I have. It's not what was maybe expected of me from my family, but it is my own version of it.
I started to dress differently. I started to present in a way that made me feel euphoria as opposed to dysphoria. I started playing around with pronouns. My name, at a certain point, started to feel like my hair. It felt like I needed a name that was less femme so that I could introduce myself to people, or when people saw my name, they didn't assume who I was from the get-go.
I did this short little theater thing with my partner, and it required me to play a man. My partner comes into the dressing room and hands me a pair of socks, and then I realized he was referring to creating a bulge. And so when I put that underneath my pants, it awoke all of these feelings that I had as a kid that I realized I had put away, which was, oh my God, this feels really comfortable too.
Today, a lot of Spanish speakers are replacing the masculine or feminine endings of like O and A with E to accommodate different gender identities. We can say ella, which is E-L-L-E, which is a nice little neutering that and taking out the binary.
I wanted to pick a name that started with the same letter and that had the same sort of meaning as my birth name. So I chose Sage. In the past few months since I've changed it, when I introduce myself to them, they're like, oh my God, that name suits you so well, or that's such a pretty name, I love that name. It makes me feel so happy. My favorite thing is saying, thanks, I chose it myself, and seeing the look on people's faces.
So, spelling out freedom, how I am feeling every single day.
My imprint is making sure that people can authentically, unapologetically be themselves.
When someone uses my pronouns, it feels so gratifying.
And so now I use they, them, theirs, and she, her, hers. I move in between the feminine, the masculine, the energy that has no gender. I keep she, her, hers as a way of honoring the fact that I did find a femininity that I really, really love. And so that's why I use both.
If I had known at the age of 13 that it was possible to exist like this, I don't think it would have taken me another 12 years to figure it out. I'm at the beginning of this journey, and I'm so excited to see where it's gonna take me.
Yeah, not bad, not bad.
Hey, Albert. What are you doing there?
Hey, Jeff. Yeah, I'm just trying on this dress.
What do you mean? You know boys don't wear dresses.
Say what?
You know, if you're a boy and you wear stuff like t-shirts and jeans, and if you're a girl, you wear things like dresses, because wearing dresses means you're a girl, and wearing pants means you are a boy. It's just how it works.
Hold on a second. Hey, Jenna? Yeah, it's Albert. Do you think you could come down here, bring Jude and Lily and the rest? Yeah, I want to show Jeff something. Thanks.
What was that?
Oh, I was just coming, bring a few friends over. I want to show you another side of this whole closed gender thing. Sorry. All right, hey, Jenny, what do you have to show Jeff here?
Observe, Jeff. I'm wearing a cloth square on my head. Do you know what that means?
No, what does that mean?
It means I'm a frub.
A what?
You know, a frub. There's boys, and there's girls, and there's frubs.
Because I look like a boy? Oh, I'm wrong. That's not a real thing, sorry.
Well, if you know I'm not a frub, how do you know you're a boy?
Because I look like a boy.
And I look like a frub. See? I got the cloth square and everything.
But that's not how it works.
Oh, yeah? Well, what do you say to this?
What is that?
What's it look like? It's a piece of cloth tied around both my shoulders, and of course, you know what gender that makes me.
I have no clue.
A fribble, of course.
That still doesn't sound like anything real. Oh, am I on the wrong page? Sorry. Did I get lost? A fribble? Yeah, what is a fribble?
Yeah, you got your boys and your girls and your frubs, and then you got your fribbles. That's just the way it works.
But that doesn't make any sense. You can't just put on random bits of cloth and call yourself random names.
But that's what you do every time you say you're a boy because of the clothes you wear.
My turn. Observe.
I got nothing here.
I'm a shazbat, Jeff. You know, girls, boys, frubs, fribbles, and shazbats.
Guys, I'm telling you.
Wait, it's my turn now. Ta-da! I probably don't have to tell you what gender this makes me.
No, you definitely do.
A gadbazzle, Jeff. Boys, girls, flubs, fribbles, shadbats, and gadbazzles.
And then there's me.
But you're just wearing normal, regular outfit.
Exactly. Normal for me, that is. And this, of course, makes me a...
Oh, I'm lost again. Why am I having so many troubles here today? A what? I should have numbered the pages is what I should have done. I took them apart. Help me out, guys. I'm so sorry. Oh, yeah, that one. I have no clue what that is.
A Drambert, of course. There's boys, girls, frubs, fribbles, shazbats, gadbazzles, and Dramberts.
It still doesn't sound like anything real.
Well, why shouldn't it be? See, Jeff, this is the way gender works. It's not a set of two real-life options. It's something humans made up.
What are you talking about? There's boys, there's girls in the world. That's not made up.
You're thinking of biological sexes. And even then, that's not really true. There are actually 6 possible biological sexes. Google it.
But that's not entirely the point. It's not part of the natural world that certain clothes mean certain things about a person, or certain names or hairstyles, or any part of how they appear. All those only seem to mean certain things, because humans decided that they did.
And because it's really a fictional thing, any gender identity that feels right to you is right, because none of them are any more or less real than any others. And you get to wear whatever you want.
So that's why boys get to wear dresses, Jeff. Any questions?
Yeah, I have one. Oh, wrong one.
Yeah, you guys.
Well, doing it. Does all of this make sense?
Does all of this make sense? Where am I? I am not making sense. Obviously not enough sleep last night. No, not really, to be honest. It's just way too much to process, obviously.
Yeah, I get it. If you haven't really learned about gender like this before, it can be a lot to process.
And taking time to learn and understand better is okay, but you still have to respect who people are and what they choose to wear while you're learning.
And if you have any questions, you can always ask us.
I have one.
Yes?
Who's your tailor?
Night by Scarlett DiGiacomo from the Black Trans Prayer Book. Scarlett DiGiacomo is a Black trans woman performing in the Pacific Northwest. They see their work reflecting nature as teaching us about our spiritual and emotional self. I rejoice in every color I was made, brown girl, earth herself, and stardust. Somewhere there exists a version of me struggling to fit herself within the confines of the space she was given. In the depth of her heart, she finds my name, and if only I could, I would step back through time and thank her for calling me into being. Somewhere there exists a version of me not making the mistakes I am making now, and if only I could, I would step forward in time and thank her for giving me reason to survive.
Understanding gender and using someone's preferred pronouns is not just a question of semantics. It is a matter of understanding one's full humanity. Not using somebody's preferred pronouns is like saying, I don't like the hand you write with. You shame someone for something they have no control over and that you have no real reason to care about in the first place.
Just because I may present more femme doesn't mean that I'm any less they, them.
You know what, that thing where you're eating a meal, but you're not really eating a meal, you're just kind of picking at food on the counter. My family and I were doing that one night, and I just kind of looked at them and said, hey guys, I'm non-binary. I don't have a gender.
In my opinion, gender is a universe. It is a broad spectrum of planets and stars and sky that truly cannot be contained into a binary.
My pronouns are they, them, theirs, and that's a non-negotiable. And they were all kind of like, okay.
I think one of the main reasons pronouns are so important is because other than our name, it's one of the main ways that people identify and call us.
My pronouns are personally very important to me. Growing up, enculturated into kind of a system that really subscribes to toxic masculinity, I was always uncomfortable with being called dude, what's up, man. I was so bad at dapping people up, how guys do that whole like that thing. I was so bad at that, and it just like, I felt very alienated every time someone would do that to me.
So when someone identifies with a pronoun, they're essentially taking their little piece of that broad universe and identifying with that. And so in using their correct pronouns, we're validating that, yes, you are right in your identity and you are important and we're respecting you.
Coming into terms with my gender queer identity has been one of the most challenging but also rewarding things that I've done.
Laverne Cox kind of famously said, misgendering a trans person is an act of violence. And it is. It's an act of psychological violence. It's a denial of somebody's personhood and a complete refusal to acknowledge their identity, whether intentional or not.
And so it is something that is entirely wrapped around our everyday lives. So just walking into a restaurant and hearing someone say she, like, will happen within 2 seconds of me entering, which doesn't happen about any of my other identities. They're not gonna be like, oh, you straight person, you know, like that doesn't happen. But automatically someone will make assumptions about gender which translate into pronouns, which mean that I will hear over and over again people saying something about my identity which is false.
I think a lot of people associate expression with identity, and sometimes that's not the case. You know, oftentimes I'm in situations where I'm not the most safe being able to express my gender identity, and in those cases, even in those instances where I'm wearing basketball shorts or sneakers, you can't take my gender identity away from me because that's mine and not yours.
So many different options for who you are and how to define that. So when someone chooses a personal pronoun that they identify with, using that pronoun is a form of respect and a form of validation that, yes, this is your rightful identity and I will respect that.
And I know personally when I get misgendered, by strangers, it's one thing, but it's especially painful when it's people who are close to you. So when my parents misgender me, it's a knife in my heart because they're the people whose opinions matter more to me than anybody else's.
And not knowing how to combat it. It is constant and it is such a prevalent part of our society that being misgendered happens countless times in a day, and that builds up really quickly, and it can really be difficult for a person to hear over and over again because it invalidates your identity over and over and over again.
Pronouns are important because they are the smallest and easiest way that you can acknowledge somebody's identity.
And I also don't like that people call them their preferred pronouns because it's also not a preference. It's who they are. You need to use those pronouns. It's literally an extension of my arm or my leg. It's just as a part of me as a vital organ. My identity, although you can't see it, still needs to be validated just as much as you would validate the fact that I have 5 fingers or 5 toes.
My People's Hands by Sean Parker Dennison. Reverend Sean Parker Dennison is a minister of the Rogue Valley Unitarian Universalist Fellowship in Ashland, Oregon. They are a co-founder of Trust, an organization for transgender ministers and religious professionals in the UUA.
My people are the ones whose hands are raised, who walk through the world with hands up, not in surrender, but demand. Hands up, don't shoot. Not surrender, but command. Hands up, they will stop bullets, stop the killings, stop anything that wants them dead. My people's hands are raised.
My people are the ones whose hands high in the air dance and tremble, whose eyes are wise with what they know of their own hearts. My people have jazz hands dipped in glitter that leave a shimmering trail, an escape route from both the closet and the grave. My people use their hands to love each other and themselves. My people's hands are unashamed.
My people's hands, no longer scarred or broken, have healed stigmata.
Okay. My people are the ones whose hands, high in the air, dance and tremble, whose eyes are wise with what they know of their own hearts. My people have jazz hands dipped in glitter that leave a shimmering trail, an escape route from both the closet and the grave. My people use their hands to love each other and themselves. My people's hands are unashamed.
My people's hands, no longer scarred or broken, have healed stigmata and found their true gods. My people reach up to the sun and touch the curved body of the night goddess, rise up to caress the moon and break her chains.
My people's hands are not content with "this is how it's always been." My people are the shapers of the clay, choosing form and texture, keeping time by rhythm and rest, meter and metaphor. My people's hands create pictures of what is and what can be, paint beautiful warnings in colors that exist only for this moment, for this message. My people's hands are constantly ablaze.
My people's hands do not wait for permission, travel in constant amazement through time and space. Together, bones and blessings set markers and plant traces of past and future along the way. My people's hands smell of soil and sun, are stained with earth, always calloused by the unrelenting work of hope. My people's hands are unafraid.
Everyone knows this world ain't perfect, but what you got going on, it makes you worthy. Any way you turn, or any way I slice it, someone's gonna get burned, but those scars are truly worth it. One day you'll see that the answer you seek was in front of you, baby. Love is all you need when your back's against the wall, 'cause you feel you've lost it all. There's nowhere left to turn and no one left to call. There is someone just like you who feels the same way too. Why would you surrender? Don't give up on love. On love, on love, on love. On love, on love, on love.
Sometimes it feels things won't get better, but in time you realize nothing lasts forever.
One day you'll see that the answer you seek was in front of you, baby. Love is all you need when your back's against the wall, 'cause you feel you've lost it all. There's nowhere left to turn and no one left to call. There is someone just like you who feels the same way too. Why would you surrender? Don't give up on love. On love, on love, on love. On love, on love. When your hope has run away,
Don't give up,
if you've ever been betrayed,
don't give up,
when you fall your last
give up.
why would you surrender? Don't give up on love when your back's against the wall, 'cause you feel you've lost it all. There's nowhere left to turn and no one left to call. There's someone just like you who feels the same way too. Why would you surrender? Don't give up on love. On love, on love, on love. On love, on love,
Prayer for My Queer and Trans Siblings by Jess Reynolds. Jess Reynolds is a member of the Unitarian Universalist Society of Sacramento. Their book of reflections, Love Like Thunder, is part of the UU in Spirit series of meditations. Here you are, here in this holy space, on this ground that is holy, because you are here. Here you are, in flesh and bone, filling up this body that belongs to you alone. Your pumping heart is a wonder because it keeps you alive. Your loving heart is a blessing because it keeps all of us alive. The spirit of love has a home in you. May we all see that love in you and let our hearts become mirrors for the compassion at your core. The spirit of justice has a home in you. May we light our wicks from one another until we are all aflame, until we burn out every prejudice we carry in these bones. Here you are, holy as you are. Blessed be.
As the UCE youth group extinguish the chalice, please join in saying these words. Though the flame is extinguished, we carry with us the warmth of community, the light of truth, and the fire of commitment until we are together again. Please rise in body or spirit and join in singing hymn number 6, Just As Long As I Have Breath.
As I have breath, I must answer yes to life. Though with pain I made my way, still with hope I meet each day. If they ask what I did well, tell them I said yes to life. Just as long as my heart beats, I must answer yes to truth. In my dream and in my dark, always that elusive spark. If they ask what I did well, tell them I said yes to truth.
I am so proud of you and so grateful. Thank you, Dylan. This is very, I'm just very touched and very grateful to our youth for this service. Let us move out from this sacred time and this holy place, newly emboldened to be who we are and to celebrate the diversity of each unique life. May our hearts remain open, loving, and compassionate to all the ways of being alive. And may we be fierce advocates for all who strive to be truly and wholly themselves. Go making peace.